Hi everyone, it's Kat. Thanks for joining me today for another crafty video. Today I have one sketch and I'm going to create two cards. So this is a 2-card process video, so it's a little bit longer than normal. But as you can see, I'm using this sketch. It's from Viva La Verve, and you can find it at vlvsketches.blogspot.com. And I found it on Pinterest. So to start out with, I created this tag file using my brother's Scan and Cut, and I actually had some help from some ladies in the Stamping Enablers group who helped me get it just the way that I wanted it. And I thought that it would be cute to have some texture on it, so I'm going to run it through my Tailored Expressions beadboard embossing folder, which you can see here. And I'm just going to place it in there and run it through my Vagabond. And this is what it looks like when it's embossed. And I love that look. It reminds me of that wood paneling stuff that's on the walls in like older houses. So I'm going to go ahead and emboss the other tags. And now I'm going to show you some of the supplies that I'm going to be using. I have some cardstock or pattern paper actually. This is Glitzy Glitter Paper by DCWV, the cardstock stack. And then I'll be using this red diagonal striped cardstock from Let's Bokeh in the Snow by Lawn Fawn. And also I'll be using this hollyberry or holly leaf, whatever, paper from Doodlebug's Sugar Plums. And I didn't show it here, but I'll also be using in the second card another paper pad called Foiled, and that's by DCWV. So for my tags, I'm just using Nina Solar White 80-pound cardstock. That cuts really well in my Scan and Cut. And for dies, I'm using MFT Stitch Circle Stacks dies, and I'm using the largest one out of that. I'm using the largest one out of the Lawn Fawn Small Stitched Rectangles and the largest die out of the Lawn Fawn Large Stitched Rectangles. So this is how my card is going to look. I'm just kind of laying out my dies so I can see the layout and matching it up with the sketch as well as I can, just to make sure everything's going to fit correctly. And I thought maybe I could cut the circle out of the middle of this paper right here, just to save on my glitter paper, because you know it's a commodity. But the circle was a little bit too big. So what I'm doing now is just using my magnetic plate and cutting out the different pieces of paper, the layers of my cards with my Vagabond, which you can't see on screen because it's plugged in behind me. But I have a gray and white Big Shot in the mail on the way to me, which I got on Blitsy. So pretty soon I'll be able to show you the die cutting in my videos. So I messed up the die cutting on that last piece of paper. I put it too close to the edge, and I just need to grab another piece and recut it. And that's what I'm doing right now. So this is how the different layers will lay out on the card. And that glitter paper will cover up the entire front of the card base. So that's all that you will see. And I was trying to determine whether I want that circle up at the top or in the middle, because the sketch calls for the circle to be up at the top. But I was thinking in the middle, but you'll see what I decided in just a few minutes. So these are the tags that I had cut out originally, and you can see they're way too big for the circle. So I'm going to figure that out in just a minute and then recut some new tags that are much smaller. And I was having a little bit of a dilemma thinking they needed to be stitched because all the other layers were stitched, but I don't know how to make stitch marks with my Scan and Cut yet. I just got it before my surgery and I haven't had much time to play with it yet. So I'm just going to go with it the way it is. So now these are my new tags and they're much smaller. And as you can see, they look a lot better. They just fit on that circle much better. So the dimensions are perfect now. So I'm trying to decide how I want to decorate my card, what I want to put on that tag, and whether or not I want to emboss them. So while I was thinking about that, I grabbed my card base cardstock, which is Gina K Pure Luxury 120 pound cardstock. And I was trying to show you how thick the paper is, but you can't really tell in the video. But it's very thick and very smooth. It's great for Copic coloring. And if you Copic color on this cardstock, it will not bleed through. But it's absolutely perfect for card bases, and it's my favorite cardstock. So I'm using my Teflon bone folder now on the flat edge just to score the fold line to make sure it's flat. And now I'm going to start laying out the pieces of my card, I believe. It's hard to remember everything that I did in the video when I go to do the voiceover. Yeah, okay, so I'm going to go ahead and start adhering the layers down to the card base using my ATG. So I'll start with that glitter paper. And I'm just kind of eyeballing it to try to get everything even. The ATG is a good adhesive to use on this glitter paper because it's pretty sticky, and if for some reason that won't work, like if you have the smaller ATG, the pink one, Tombow Extreme adhesive works really well on glitter paper. Sometimes it's a little harder to adhere things to that. So this is where I'm going to decide where I want to put this circle, if I'm going to put it up at the top or in the middle. And I'm just moving it about until I figure it out. And then it hit me that if I put it towards the top where the sketch calls for it, I will have room to put a sentiment down at the bottom. So that's what I decided to do. So I went ahead and embossed my new tags, and that's what they look like. And this is the little sticker decoration that I found in my Christmas stash, and I've decided that I'm going to decorate my tag using that. I'm not sure how old this is, but it's old enough that the little pieces weren't sticking anymore. So I have a little bit of trouble with this little puff ball on the end of Santa's hat. I'm going to try to glue it like 2 or 3 times using this Ranger multi-medium and matte finish and some eyelash, what are those called? Adhesive disposable brushes, I guess they're called. And I just use those little brushes with the adhesive to add glue to like the back of die cuts and little things like this. So I'm going to go ahead and stick it on there, but as you're going to see in this video, it's going to fall apart like 2 or 3 more times. And then I'll finally end up finding another way to glue it. Everybody says that the multi-medium is very, very sticky. I think you just have to let it sit still long enough to dry, and I'm impatient, so I didn't do that. But because this glue is so sticky, I'm going to go ahead and add it to the back of the foam tape on the back of these little die cuts, just so that they don't fall off in the mail because they're so old. So I'm going to try that puff ball again because it fell off. And now it's stuck down. And then I'm just going to go ahead and add some of that adhesive to the back of all these little die cuts or stickers and then place them on my tag. This little candy I start to put up near the top where there's a lot of blank space, but then I remembered that I wanted to put a bow up there, so I'm going to go ahead and move that down to the like near the bottom on the left hand side of the little tag. There we go. I think that's kind of cute. So now I need to decide if I want to layer these tags like the sketch shows, just like this, or if I just want to use one by itself. And I decided just to use one by itself. I think it's just a little bit busy of a card to have both tags. And I'm going to use the ho 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 as my sentiment. So there will be no stamping on this card except on the inside. And then I'm going to place that sentiment down there at the bottom. And the card's looking pretty adorable right now, to me. So I need to poke a hole, or I thought I needed to poke a hole in that tag to run some ribbon through it. It turns out that I didn't need to poke a hole because I'm just going to glue the ribbon down. But that's what I'm doing now, is poking the hole. And I decided it wasn't big enough, so I did too. I can't find my crocodile that pokes holes, so I had to use an office punch. Okay, so I want to put a bow on my card, or on my tag, and I can't tie a bow, so I'm using my 10-second bow maker. If you do not, if you have trouble tying a bow, this 10-second bow maker is excellent. It takes a few times of watching a video to learn how to do it, at least it did for me, but once you learn how to do it, it's so simple, and it doesn't even, it just takes, like it said, just a few seconds, and I believe it's like $9.99. I will have a link to the 10-second bow maker in my supply list, and I don't have an affiliate program with them or anything. I don't make anything by referring it or referring people to it. I just recommend it because I use it and I really like it. So I'm going to use some 1/2-inch glue dots now, and I'm going to place some on the back of my tag so that I can adhere it down to my card. And I'm sorry that I'm a little bit off screen right now. It's going to be like that for a second, but oh, there goes the little puff ball to my Santa hat again. And my cat decides to join us, so sorry about that. He never visits me on my desk unless he either wants a treat or wants to get in the middle of my video. I think it's because I'm talking sometimes when I'm doing my video. So I used a glue dot to go ahead and adhere my ribbon bow down to my card, and I'm just going to cut the tails off with my scissors just to make them a little bit shorter. And there goes the puff ball to Santa's hat again. At this point I was frustrated with the multi-medium, so I'm turning on my hot glue gun, and voila, there it is, all heated up. And I'm just going to stick it down with hot glue. If all else fails, pull out the glue gun. It will work. So the last thing I want to do to my card is add some shine and shimmer. So I decided to use enamel dots, and I have some enamel dots by Virginia Turtle Stamps. She doesn't sell them on her website, but she sells them in the Scrappy Resale Room on Facebook. And if you want some of these, let me know, and I will send you a link to her album where she sells them. And the reason that they're different from other enamel dots is because they come in 3 sizes, and they're glimmer or shimmery. They have like glitter in the dots, and they're just beautiful. I love them, and they come in several color families. So I'm going to go ahead and take a few of these in different sizes and scatter them about the card. And I've decided to use silver shimmer dots because they match with that glitzy paper or glitter paper that is my bottom layer on my card. And I get some questions about that little tool that I'm using right now. That's by Kaisercraft, and it's called a die release tool, but I just call it a pokey tool. One end is very sharp, and it is good for releasing paper from dies and things like that. The other end, it has like a little scooper thing on it, and it's very handy too. And it's like $3.99, so it's a good little tool to have. So here's my card, and now it's time to move on to the second card. This is a picture of the second card using the same sketch, but different products. So this part of the video is going to go a lot faster. I'm just showing you now the supplies that I'm using, and they're the same supplies mostly. Same paper stacks anyway, but I do have some of these poinsettias that I got at Hobby Lobby. And I'm using my Splatter Cubby by Cosmo Cricket and some Heidi Swap Color Shine Mist in gold. And I'm going to spray this little wooden tag. And I don't remember where it came from. I think it's a Studio Calico wooden tag from a couple of years ago. And I'm just going to set that aside to dry. And now I'm showing you the dies that I'm using again. And I'm going to go ahead and cut out all of my layers out of my pattern paper for the card. And I'm doing that using my Vagabond again. And now I've created the card base using Gina K Pure Luxury Paper and my Score Buddy. And I'm going to go ahead and adhere all the layers down using my ATG. See, I told you this card was a lot faster, huh? So I'm going to use this gold foil paper to create the circle layer on my card. And I think the green is very pretty. And I think the stitching shows up beautifully on foil paper. So that's how my card is going to lay out. And I'm just going to go ahead and adhere the last part down. And I was just showing you the sketch again because I was trying to decide where to put the circle. Just like in the first card, whether I wanted it at the top or the middle. I wasn't sure how I was going to decorate the bottom, like if I was going to put a sentiment down there or not. So in the end, I ended up following the sketch. So now I've got my tag and it wasn't quite dry. So I'm going to use my heat tool to dry that. And I'm using these extra long tweezers. You can't tell how long they are because they're in my, there you go, now you can. They were in my hand, but they're by Tattered Angels, and they're made just for heat drying and embossing things. And it keeps you from burning your fingers. So I added a little bit of twine to my little wooden tag. And I was just showing you how to add the twine through the front of the hole and pull it through the middle. And that's how I'm going to lay it out. So I'm going to adhere the tags down using my ATG and then use my hot glue gun to adhere the wooden tag. Excuse me. I ordered a new glue gun. It's by Elmer's and it says that there's no drip, no like stringy things from the glue. So I'll do a review when I get that in, but I'm excited to get it. So I've decided to use the more realistic looking poinsettias and not the glitter ones because I have enough glitter on this paper or this card. I'm taking the foam tape off of the poinsettia because I didn't need it, and I'm going to hot glue it down so it'll stay better. And then I just have two more of the smaller ones. Sorry about that. Forgot to turn off my phone. And I'm just arranging those on the card the way that I want them, like that. And then I'm going to go ahead and hot glue them down. And then I need some shimmer on my card. I thought about adding one of these little wood veneer pieces, but it was too much wood. So I'm going to get out my enamel dots again. And I found some gold ones that are from an old My Mind's Eye Market Street pack. And I'm just going to scatter those around the card. And then my card should be finished. Oh no, I did the inside. I did stamp the inside. So I'll show you how I stamped the inside too. I did a little stamp surgery and cut apart a stamp. But here's a good look at the front. And there'll be a photo at the end as well. Okay, so for the inside of the card, I have this big scripty Greetings holiday stamp from Simon Says Stamp, and it has Christina Warner's handwriting on it. Now, this Merry Christmas stamp is 4 inches wide, maybe more than, it might have been a little over 4 inches wide, so it won't fit on my card. Yeah, it's more because my card is 4 1/4. So I decided to very carefully cut between the Merry and the Christmas, and you see how difficult that is because of the way that the script is written. So I was very, very careful with this. And then luckily it worked out well. So I'm going to go ahead and stamp that stacked on top of each other. And I'm going to use VersaFine Black Onyx ink. That's my favorite ink for stamping sentiments. It's a fast drying pigment ink. And it stamps crisp and cleanly every time you stamp. And now I've got my Hero Arts Ultra Clean and my Stamp Scrubber by Stuart Superior, and I'm just cleaning my stamp off. And then I'll stamp the Christmas part. And again, I just eyeballed it. It's not perfect, but you know, it's a handmade card. So now the last thing I need to do is stamp the back of my card, and that is the stamp that I had made by Stampin.com, Stampin.com. and I love it. So that's my card. Thanks for joining me, guys. I'll see you next time.